Saw the money and got activated. Saw the money and got activated. Saw that money and got activated. I saw that money and got activated. Canada Goose. Keep me wearing my cold city. I got a pole with me. Glock on 450.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're working on the Cummins. Just a quick kind of update. I actually didn't upload a video Sunday. Really kind of mad at myself about that. You know, not that it really matters to you guys, but to me, uploading on time is something I take personally. So to be honest with you, the video I edited up for Sunday was just trash, and I felt like if I uploaded that and showed you guys or made you guys watch that, I would just feel terrible. So that video was actually a wheel reveal on the hard body and kind of like a lot of thrown together clips from like all the issues we've been having with it, but it was just so bad I just felt like I don't want to upload. So we might upload it at a different time once we get some better footage together. But yeah, so today we're working on the first gen. Now this might be a new sight to you guys because I haven't showed you guys the bed since I've done it. I didn't actually film it. So basically we just aircraft stripped it down to what it is right now. It didn't take it down to bare metal. It took it down to the factory layer of paint. The factory paint is obviously really hard, so aircraft stripper could take it off, but you would go through a lot and it'd be probably a lot more work than just sanding it down. So we're gonna try to just hit it with some 60 grit and see if it knocks it down. And this is just a vibrational sander. So I don't know how much it'll really do. I have a rotational sander, but if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't really know which would be best. And by rotational, I mean this literally spins in a full circle. So if you're a body guy, comment below and let me know if that would be ideal to use on bodywork. I don't think it would be, because I know DAs, they're semi-rotational, so like they shoot back and forth and they vibrate around in different rotations. But this is like a full circle rotation. So I don't know. Comment below if you know if I should use that or not. Obviously, probably wouldn't use it on like Bondo, stuff like that. I'll block all the Bondo down. But as far as just sanding this down to metal, I don't know if it matters too much, because we're gonna sand this down to metal and then we'll probably hand sand it with like 400 or 600 grit and then lay primer over it and then sand the primer down and block it and put a guide coat on it and all that jazz. So yeah, enough of talking. I'm gonna see what this does real quick and we'll go from there. So we're trucking along, got a decent amount off the bed actually. This whole section is for the most part down to metal. We still have some down here to get to. The problem I'm running into right now is I don't actually have a mask, and everyone knows how hard it is to actually get masks for the right reasons. And this paint is really old factory paint, so I believe they even might have had lead back in them back then. And I'm not gonna lie, my throat is burning and like my nose is burning from breathing this stuff in. which I shouldn't be breathing into regardless. It's stupid of me, but you know, it's gotta get done somehow. So that's kind of the problem we're running into right now. My goal is to get the bed, this whole side of the bed, sanded down by the end of the night. I guess we'll see how that goes. We should be able to. I just gotta figure out a way to cover up my mouth. I'm gonna try and tie like a microfiber towel around my nose or something so it's not as bad. And by the way, so we started hitting this with 180, which I don't know why we did that. I guess I didn't think about it. So we're hitting it with 80 now. 180, or if we would have started with 80 to begin with, we would have gotten a lot farther a lot quicker. The nice thing is it's nice and smooth. But yeah, so we started with 80 down here. So we'll probably hit the whole panel with 80, just quickly go over it, and then hit the rest of this with 80. And then as far as stepping up, we'll probably just go from 80 to like 120, and then to 220, and then, you know, and then we'll start blocking it and all that jazz. Another thing to note is if you look at this is actually a scratch, like a deep scratch that went through the paint down the metal from a long time ago when the truck, I assume, was its factory color, and they painted over it instead of properly fixing it, so it bled underneath the paint. And I remember the paint job it had on it when I got it, it bled through and it kind of showed like the rust line here. So that's pretty cool. There's actually not any indentation here. It's just like stained the metal kind of, or it even could be like considered rust, but there's a lot of spots like that where like rock chips and stuff has just been covered up. So like, although to the naked eye, when you like do stuff like this, it may not seem like it affects it, but like if this stuff sat long enough and got enough water, it could basically start a rust hole. So like if this started to like seep through into rust, it could spread like the whole panel. So something to keep in mind when you decide to do something kind of half-assed. You have to like think to yourself in your head, like, what is the purpose with this vehicle? If you don't care about it, you're not sinking a ton of money into it, then sure, just half-ass it. But if you're like me, and you actually care about the vehicle and you're gonna keep it a long time, do it right the first time, unlike me, where I've torn apart the truck 85 million times. Okay, so we got the bed all the way down the metal. Not the whole bed, just this section of the bed. So you'll see like these spots everywhere. This is kind of like just leftover primer, it looks like. So basically we're gonna come back through with a layer of 180, I think it is. Yeah, hit this thing with 180, knock all this down. You'll see down here, this is like a where some rust was, and you can feel it. This one actually pitted a little bit, and this is from the factory trim. So the trim comes through here, and moisture and dirt will actually get stuck up behind it, especially behind the rear tire, because it'll kick up and it'll build up underneath the lip of the trim right here, and people don't clean it out, and it'll cause this to surface rust right here. A little bit of pitting here, little dent here. And then you'll notice that there's rust or like pitting around this, and it's because the factory taillights that were on this truck had the chrome trim, and the same deal, stuff would get stuck up behind it and people wouldn't clean it. So it actually like bent the metal up around here too, because of it like being on this for so long. So this will probably take quite a bit of not a lot, but we'll definitely hit this with some Bondo around here and block this out and get it nice and level and flat, because the taillights I modified the taillights to where they fit just inside this trim piece and doesn't have that big lip, which we still might even get the big lip style. I haven't decided what I really like yet. I did notice that when you cut the trim piece off, it kind of doesn't fit up right. Looks a little weird. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there, but that's obviously we haven't got to the edges here, but that'll be easy. We even did the tops. You can actually see the line all through here from where they had a tonneau cover on this. The reason I know this is because there's a really old picture that I found somewhere of this truck, and it had like a really nice tonneau cover on it. So that's what that line's from. Just from sitting on here for so long and the vibrations, it'll just dig. It's kind of like sitting there sanding something back and forth, and over time you can see where it just did that line all the way across. So we are going to buy a tonneau cover for it this year. I ended up finding a company called Tonneau Pro or something like that, and the covers really aren't too expensive. These beds are massive, so tonneau covers can be kind of pricey. But yeah, we're definitely going to run one of those this year, just because I think it makes the truck look so much better. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. We didn't do this because the edge of the bed right here kept getting ate up, or the edge of the bed was eating up the sandpaper, so we'll do that by hand. But for the most part, I think that's mostly going to be it for this video. As far as the interior goes, basically we just have to order more of this kill mat stuff. We did get like a decent ways up the roof and got the pillars on that side done. Somebody, if you don't follow me on TikTok, go follow me on TikTok. I post a lot on there, believe it or not. But somebody on TikTok had commented and said, hey, you got all this stuff out, why not just pull the dash and do the firewall and do it the right way, which is 100% the truth. Honestly, didn't even think about it, kind of slipped my mind. So I went to go pull the dash, and then I realized that there's bolts up here, which I knew that from the D150 that I had, if you guys remember. I forgot that the bolts are hidden behind this windshield seal, and I was kind of looking at it, and realistically the only way you can get this thing out, to my knowledge, and see getting this dash out and getting to those screws without damaging the seal or the dash, would be to pull the windshield. And I really don't want to pull the windshield because the windshield's really mint. I think it's a factory windshield too. So I was looking, and I think that we can get to everything on the firewall without pulling the dash, I think. We're probably gonna wrap this whole thing in kill mat, and then over there you can see most of the firewall, and then we're gonna do the kick panels and stuff. So that's kind of where we're at on that. Honestly, we're just kind of waiting on material. Had some things come up that I didn't really expect to kind of happen, and we'll get into that later this week. I have a whole video that I'm gonna make on that and kind of explain what's going on. But yeah, I think that's really it. I'm trying to think what else. So the next video, basically we'll hit this with the 180 and get this thing prepped up and throw some primer on it, and then we'll get some guide coat, and we'll have sanding blocks by then, and we'll start blocking this whole bedside down, kind of figure out where we're gonna have to lay some Bondo at, and we'll get that laid, we'll block that down, and yeah, so that's one bedside for now. And then we are gonna actually sand the entire cab down as well, so it's not really too terrible if you think about it. I mean, there's not a lot of metal here. Doing that whole bedside took me, I would say, a good 8 hours of work added up. I started it only took me about 2 hours or 3 hours to sand this down, but to scrape all of the stuff off beforehand probably took me about maybe 3 or 4 hours. Probably less than that, honestly. So roughly about 6 hours of work just to get it down to metal. So if that took 6 hours, I'd imagine this wouldn't take terribly long. And I also want to do a little bit better a job on this seam. When I originally put these rockers in, I didn't actually have any sanding blocks, so I did this all by hand, and you can definitely tell because it's not the cleanest line in the world. I think I'm actually going to delete the line and just run a smooth panel so that you can't even see where the seam of the rocker panel is at. So and then we obviously got to hit those with some Bondo and stuff, get those leveled out, get those blocked out. But got a lot of work ahead of us, guys. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and it's super crazy. I know a lot of you guys are without jobs, and a lot of you guys are struggling, and I just want to say, keep your head up. You know, it does suck, but maybe look at the positives. I mean, the world is changing as we know it because nobody has experienced this before. Nobody's had this. Some people have never even sat at home with their families before. So, you know, maybe this is a good thing. It's a blessing in disguise. You never know. Like I said, it sucks, but it is what it is. The good news for us car guys is, yeah, there won't be any car shit this year, but that gives us more time to get our shit done. So I'm not all too mad about it because that gives me, you know, more time to get everything the way I want it, because I tend to rush things once car season gets here. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Everyone stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.
Y'all know the recipe, I'm so saucy. They still trying to figure out how to put them in a coffee. They want the ingredient, loving my flavor. Swimming in the money, now I turn into a sailor.